Look at all you sparkly people out there. I just invite you to come on in and take a seat. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Those of you who will be online later, because I know you can't see this right now, we're not able to live stream, but I still want to include you and say that you're very welcome whenever you're watching this. We're glad that you're here as well. I am Reverend Mary Marie Shelton. I'm the Senior Minister and Community Spiritual Leader here at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. And one of the things that we value in this spiritual community is community. So it's important to us that everybody feel welcome. And what I want to ask you to do is stand up and just go around and welcome the people around you and introduce yourself to anybody you don't know and welcome anybody back you haven't seen in a while. So go ahead and do that. And in just a moment, we'll be right back to sing the opening song. So if you're at home, get yourself a cup of coffee. We'll be right back.
My daughter's gingerbread house in Sausalito is Willy Wonka.
Beautiful.
It's supposed to go. But anyway, it's huge.
Wow, yeah.
He's written up the idea about it.
It's great.
Working on hot water for tea around 11. We're out there. We're going to run to Pete's and get some hot coffee around 11.
Okay, thanks. All right, everyone. Well, this is an interesting morning. We came in, it was completely dead. There was no light, there was nothing. And it came on and went off a couple of times. And so far, this one is held, but we don't have any power backstage. In the kitchen, we have no Wi-Fi. So we're recording, but we're not broadcasting. There's no live stream. So those that are relying on live stream, this morning you're going to be seeing this later. Not live, sorry about that. But it still is going to be a wonderful morning for us, and hopefully we will have this amount of light and power until we get finished. So we should hurry up and get to it. So now Nathan Aswell is our musician this morning. He's a recording artist and speaker, singer-songwriter based in Vancouver. And his idea, his vision, is to encourage people to live big lives one small step at a time. So we won't be able to see Nathan this morning because we can't lower the screen, because that's backstage. And so we will still be able to hear him, but this is not a song that you already know. I mean, I think we've sung it once before, but it's called I Choose Joy. And now you're going to sing with him the way that you do when you're a little kid and you're learning something. I choose joy. You know, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to be able to hear him. So I'm going to invite you to stand anyway and just be game for this. All right? And we will just let him go ahead and introduce the song, and then we'll do our best.
Warm greetings, everyone. It's always a great pleasure for me to be with you at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. In honor of this month's theme, Sticking the Landing, and of today's theme, Souls on Fire, I'd like to kick things off with a great song by Terry Wilder called I Choose Joy. Walls come tumbling down, I choose joy, I choose joy. When the world stops spinning around, I choose joy, I choose joy. When my heart is hard to move, when my music's lost its groove, when I have too much to prove, I choose joy, I choose joy. When hate is all I see, I choose joy, I choose joy. When fear won't let me be, I choose joy, I choose joy. When betrayal and lies hide the light from my eyes, I look out to the skies and I choose joy, I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. I find the stable ground where peace and hope abound. I hear a sweeter sound, the chains have come on down. Love is all around when I choose joy. In this moment, right here, I choose joy, I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy, I choose joy. To be who I must be, for the light to shine in me, for everybody to be free. I choose joy, I choose joy, and everybody will be free when I choose joy, I choose joy.
All right, give yourselves a hand. And you may be seated. Not easy, but you did it. Very proud of you all. So this is the time to go ahead and silence your cell phone so it won't ring and interrupt us. You can have it on vibrate, that's fine. And we're going to go ahead and turn within to get ourselves centered for the morning service. And so our morning prayer is going to be offered by Reverend M. Louise Mann right now. Right here.
So as we just center and take a deep breath and remember who we truly are, that each one of us is an expression of the divine, that each one has that within them to experience that love, that good, that godness, and to know that it is available right here, right now, in this very moment. As we just remember that we are the beloveds, absolutely the beloveds. And as we open our hearts and minds to have this experience of being together, no matter where we are today, just being together and remembering that God is all the time. And so I know that as we remember that good, that love, that joy, that we just open our hearts and minds to the whatever wonderful words that Reverend Mary has brought to us this morning, knowing that they will support and lift us in wonderful, joyous ways. And so I am just anticipating this good with such love. And so I accept it right here and now. And together we say,
And
and so it is.
Yes. Thank you, Reverend Louise.
May I be loved, may I be held and celebrated, may my gifts be seen as sacred, may I live my fullest expression, may I live my fullest expression. May you sacred. May you live your fullest expression. May you live your fullest expression. May we be loved, may we be held and celebrated, may our gifts be seen as sacred, may we live our fullest expression, may we live our fullest expression. 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 May we live our fullest expression.
Yes, we're talking about souls on fire today. And that always, to me, kind of brings to mind the idea of a group of really passionate, enthusiastic, energetic young people racing off to accomplish some great task. But, you know, fire burns all sorts of different ways. So this year has been the theme of a grand rising, and this month has been sticking the landing. You know, sticking the landing is coming to the end of something successfully. If you are a gymnast or an ice skater or a dancer, you don't fall off the stage, you don't fall on your face, you don't trip anyone else. Those are all successes. But to really stick the landing is when it just came off fabulously and the end is just as good and successful as the rest of the performance. Or maybe the end is the way they rescue the performance when it hasn't been so great. So that's kind of what we've been looking at for the month of December, is coming to the end of this year with a certain kind of awareness and growth. And this is also the time of Advent. So Advent means to wait. It means anticipation. And actually, in some translations, beyond coming and arrival, it also means invasion. So it's the recognition that something is being anticipated, something is coming, and it's a big deal. What it is coming. And so here we have our Advent wreath. We've been lighting the candles each week. The first Sunday, we lit the purple candle for hope. And in a metaphysical sense, this is our hope that we awaken to the deeper truth of the consciousness of who we are and why we're here. The second, so that is the candle of hope. The second candle is the candle of peace. And it is the recognition that as we recognize the oneness of God, the eternal love, and the allness and the all-inclusiveness of God, there is a great peace that comes in recognizing that we are all loved and we are all one. We're all connected. The third Sunday of Advent is a little bit different because instead of lighting another purple candle, we light a rose-colored candle. And the rose-colored candle symbolizes joy. This is sometimes referred to as Gaudete Sunday, which reflects the meaning of joy, rejoicing, celebration. And the celebration is for all of that which has been recognized in the first 2 weeks, all of that hope, all of that peacefulness, and now the joy that arises out of that, out of looking forward to and anticipating something with enthusiasm, of feeling hopeful for our own awakening, of recognizing that we are all one all the time, and entering into that peacefulness, engendering a state of joy. So that's where we are in the third Sunday of Advent now, with this theme, Souls on Fire. Souls on fire. And I want to lead you into the affirmation that would have been on the screen for you for this week of joy. So please repeat after me. Today I welcome joy into my being. I don't need a reason to choose divine delight. No circumstance or condition can pull me away from it. No circumstance or condition can pull me away from it. I've already aligned myself with hope and peace. And today I align with joy. Now, when you choose to align with joy, it means that you set aside the heaviness, whatever heaviness might be going on in your mind or heart or in your community, to set aside that heaviness for now. Not as an abandonment or betrayal of those who feel it, but as a recognition that there is something deeper and larger going on that we want to put our attention on, that we want to move toward, and that's joy. So here's a story that brings joy, at least to me. This woman says, when my son was 8 years old, he was in a Christmas pageant at our church. His line began, and the Virgin Mary was with child. The night of the presentation came, and everything was going beautifully. All the children were relaxed and recited their lines without any mistakes. And when it was time for my son to speak, after all his flawless rehearsal, he proudly proclaimed, and the Viking Mary was with child. And the adults in the audience tried hard not to roar with surprised laughter. You know what's wonderful about that? It isn't watching a nativity performance that's perfect that brings us a sense of divine delight and joy. It's something like this. It's the unexpected surprise of the wholehearted participation that went just slightly awry at the last moment unexpectedly and brought a sense of delight and joy. So I think this morning, with the question of whether we'll have light, whether we'll have power, will we be live streaming, will anybody hear us or see us today, is part of one of those little tweaks that happens unexpectedly that we can either grumble and moan over, or we can just jump into it and adapt as best we can. If you're cold and you're not too worried about viruses, cuddle up with the person next to you. Why not? Let's keep each other warm on this lovely day. So we come into this time of celebrating passion. Souls on Fire is about passion. It's about really caring about something enough that we want to involve ourselves somehow, or we want to participate or make a difference or contribute to something or take action. Affect, oh, there I am again. How does passion affect sticking the landing? You know, no matter what happens in the course of the performance, you still want to end strong because that's the last impression that is left with people. So in order to end strong, you want to be able to not get tangled up in the mistakes that you made earlier. Because if you get too tangled up in those, you won't be present here when the ending comes. And it's a little difficult to stick a landing when you're not in your body. So you have to let go of that, at least for now, set it aside and focus on the moment that you're in to respond to that, right? And sometimes what that means then is you have to look for a particular way to address something the way it's never been addressed before. When Henry Ford tried to get unbreakable glass for his new models, he would not see any of the experts. He said they knew too many reasons already why it couldn't be done. So he told his staff, bring me eager young fellows who do not know the reasons why unbreakable glass cannot be made. Give this problem to ambitious young fellows who think nothing is impossible. And he got unbreakable glass. It's not unbreakable, it's just, it doesn't shatter in any dangerous kind of way. If you've ever been in a car accident where the windows broke, you can see they're little square pieces. No fun to be in that kind of an accident, but at least you know you're not going to be cut to ribbon by the glass. Imagine those cars with shattering glass. Even though they weren't going very fast, that's got to be a little scary if something happens. In fact, my mentor minister once said that when cars were first on the road, they were not allowed to go more than about 25 miles an hour. And it was believed that if the car went faster than 25 miles an hour, the driver would die. Well, maybe if the glass shattered, the driver might die. Who knew? So sometimes what we need to be able to do is persist in the face of not knowing what to do, rather than giving up on it, continuing to go forward in the direction that seems indicated, to do the best that we can to come to a good ending, whatever that might mean. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, we must learn to live by inspiration. That means that we should let the spiritual depths of our being flow through our conversation and into our acts. Living by inspiration does not mean living chaotically. Our whole purpose is to make the intellect an instrument for the spirit. We must become artists in living. To live by inspiration means to sense the divine touch in everything, to enter into the spirit of things, to enter into the joy of living. So this morning, for us, entering into the spirit of things is about, zipping up your coat and hoping with a great sense of peace and joy that we will indeed manifest hot water and coffee by the end of the service, but knowing that that might not happen, and knowing that there will be snacks, even if we can't see them, we'll be able to have something to eat. And just taking that all as a blessing, because this is a morning in which we do not know what's going to happen. And so we get to just enter into this joyful discovery and creation of not knowing. One of the things about passion is that it combines together curiosity. Passion is always something that we're interested in. That's where our passion gets tweaked. So curiosity, and then anticipation. There are some studies now that show that anticipation is even more pleasure producing than the result we're trying to get to. They say even planning a vacation will lift people's spirits, even if they never go on that vacation. Just planning it, having that to play with, to think about, to imagine, to anticipate, brings a greater sense of joy. So it brings us curiosity, and then the anticipation of what it will be like when this, whatever we're passionate about, comes about or is completed. We can get excited about that before it's ever even there. And then it requires commitment. Passion isn't just something that flares and then goes out. We have to have a commitment to actually living in it and letting it lead us in that unknown direction. So we're determined. We are committed to that. And that determination and commitment is what allows us to persist with our passion, even when we don't know if we really pull it off or what it will really look like. So it takes those qualities, curiosity, anticipation, commitment, determination, and it blends them and joins them together in joyful expression and experience. So the joyful expression and experience can be in the process as much or sometimes maybe more than in the end result. Maybe we had a great time in all of our preparation, but the thing was kind of a dud. Well, we still had a lot of fun getting there. That wasn't a landing, we stuck. Oh well. Next, try again. What's going to happen next time? And so what we do then is we move toward this experience that we care about with hopefulness, right? And if we're really being effective, we're going at it peacefully, but still with a sense of commitment to that ending that we want to produce. Rumi says, say yes to your internal joy, to self-love, to your internal strength, happiness, and abundance. Each of these qualities will multiply every time you say yes. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. So that's what we're going for today, is that taking hold in that kind of carpe diem sense, taking hold of life. So what if we don't know what we're doing? Neither does anybody else. But you don't want to just sit there forever waiting for something to happen. That becomes waiting for Godot. Any of you ever see that play? They wait for the entire play. Godot, which is God, never shows up. So when we are anticipating that good, we are welcoming more of that into our lives. The journey sometimes matters more than the destination. Our founder also said, the spark which burns at the center of our soul is caught from the living and eternal flame of spirit. I think the infinite never loses or diminishes in passion. It's constantly creating through every one of us, through everything that is. And yet it doesn't just show up and then hang there. It's always producing more. You know, Will Rogers said, even if you are on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. We are here to actually be in motion, not just sitting still. And so our soul on fire, maybe if you've lived many, many years, then a soul on fire is burning with a kind of embers rather than huge roaring flames. But those embers have not gone out. And sometimes blowing on them brings forward flames again. So we find that we get inspired or reignited by some idea, by some person, by a piece of music, by something we've read or heard, or by a movie that we've seen. And it lifts us back into that place of burning enthusiasm. It is very interesting that, you know, so many experiments have been done over many, many decades now with rats because they have such similarity to us in so many ways, whether we like that idea or not. It's true. They can learn to recognize objects. They can learn to press bars to get rewards. They can learn to find their way around mazes to get to the cheese or whatever the reward is. So those kinds of tests have been used to study how the brain and its conditions affect our cognitive functioning. But those tests only capture a kind of a narrow idea of animal cognition, of animal understanding. So Kelly Lambert and her colleagues at the University of Richmond in Virginia wondered if rats could learn how to operate a moving vehicle. And so I wish you could see the pictures. They constructed a tiny car out of clear plastic food containers on wheels. They put in an aluminum floor and copper bars for a steering wheel. There were 3 horizontal copper bars. And when a rat stood on the aluminum floor and gripped the copper bars, that completed an electrical circuit and the car would move forward. So if they touched the left or the center or the right side of the bar, the car would turn or adjust accordingly. So 6 female and 11 male rats were trained to drive this car. in a rectangular area that was up to 4 square meters. And they received little bits of Fruit Loops as rewards when they touched the steering bars to drive the car. So the team began to encourage the rats to improve their driving skills by placing the treats further and further away. And they learned to navigate the car in unique ways and engaged in steering patterns that they had never been taught, never used before, to eventually arrive at the reward, according to Lambert. Now, the researchers also were assessing their stress level, like, is this stressing them out terribly to be doing this? And they measured 2 hormones, one which is a marker of stress, and the other which is a marker of a counteracting thing for stress in the body. And the ratio of the stress reducer to the stress marker increased over the course of their driving. Learning to drive seemed to relax the rats. And the team found that the rats that drove themselves had higher de-stressor levels and were less stressed than the rats that were driven as passengers in remote-controlled cars. That might be a good indication to us to think about self-driving cars, but anyway. The team is now planning follow-up experiments to understand how rats learn to drive, why it seems to reduce their stress, and which brain areas are involved. Now, isn't that fascinating? Their anticipation of driving and of getting to the treat reduced their stress and seemed to increase their experience of pleasure. So the anticipation of that treat, the anticipation of moving, making the car move, actually pleased them as much as getting to the Fruit Loops. They were willing to drive all over the place to get these Fruit Loops. So they enjoy driving themselves more than being driven to their treats. They like having that autonomy, that ability, that control. You know, we say that human beings appreciate the freedom to do things. Well, apparently it's not limited to us. And so if this is the case, you see, then there are so many things that we can decide to enjoy the anticipation of rather than spending the anticipatory time winding ourselves into knots trying to make the end result perfect. Instead, if we really enjoy the process, then the end result could be perfect or not, and it might be just fine. But we deserve to enjoy, to bring joy into the process. Now, the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, this time of year can become very stressful for people. They're anticipating social events they need to go to, or hosting they need to prepare for, or gifts they need to buy, and maybe they don't know what people would really like, or they don't have a lot to spend on gifts. It makes it more stressful and difficult to do that. Have I sent cards? Do I really need to mail them? Can I do e-cards? Well, now my brother he can't access his email anymore, so that means that's out. You know, and it's possible to get all wound up about all that stuff. Suppose you're making a special treat for a Christmas outing you're going on, and you forget an ingredient. And the thing is, well, you know, like, you're not going to take that to anybody. Well, you can sit around and feel bad, or you can hie yourself over to Whole Foods and get something exciting to take, even though you didn't make it. Can we just put down for the moment all the stuff that we get wound about and instead enter into this kind of anticipation? Well, one of my greatest joys at this time of year is just looking at the lights that people are putting up, looking at the decorations, getting a sense of that joyfulness, remembering going and looking in the department store windows at the animated things when I was just a little girl. Anybody remember doing things like that? Yeah? And so it becomes part of the celebration that we anticipate what that means to enjoy all of that and to think about the welcoming of the avatar, Jesus the Christ, the one who was a great demonstration of living in that God-realized consciousness and what's possible from that place, and trying to get the idea across to all of us that we are that. You know, when he said, all these things that I can do, you can do as well, and greater things. Now, why would he say that? Was he just messing with us? I don't think so. It seems like he was trying to wake us up to something that is already within us, to let us know that it's there. Now, our anticipation at this time of year is about awakening to that. We don't actually know what's entailed in that or how it works. Sometimes someone becomes awakened and we don't know what that mechanism was. The only thing we know, for example, about Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie is that they completely surrendered. And that shifted something in them. Now, I don't know what complete surrender means for any of us. I don't know what that looks like. They were both people who were in the depths of despair, suicidal even. I don't recommend that as an option. I don't think that's the required way. You know, they say that Brother Lawrence became awakened when he was looking at a tree in the depths of winter that looked absolutely dead. And he realized that in just a few months, that tree was going to be bursting with life. That capacity, that potential, that wholeness was already present in that tree, just waiting for the moment. And somehow the idea that in the depths of winter, that dead tree had the capacity to burst into life, that did it for him. He awakened to that larger truth of God everywhere he looked, in everything, in everyone. That, I think, is more the message that Jesus was trying to get across to us if we could just begin to understand it, begin to believe it, begin to live from that. So here's a story that I want to share with you in conclusion today. And this is a story about somebody who taught a family about living in joy in spite of negative conditions. My best Christmas was the year we had Ken and Barbie on top of our tree. We had an angel for Christmas Day, but then we had Ken and Barbie. Let me explain. When my daughter was 4, I hired a ballet dancer to babysit for a few afternoons a week. Randy was tall and confident with that ballet dancer's chest-first carriage, and though he was only 27, a sure, cheerful bossiness. For 4 years, he and Hallie roamed the city to climb the Alice in Wonderland statue in Central Park, to smile at the waddling, pint-sized penguins at the zoo. They had their own world, their own passions, a devotion to ice cream, Elmo, and Pee Wee Herman. He orchestrated Hallie's birthday parties to a fare thee well. One year he declared a Peter Pan theme, made Hallie a Tinkerbell outfit with little jingle bells on the hem, and talked my father into making an appearance in a big-brimmed pirate hat and a fake hook for a hand. Randy took charge of my parties, too, dictating what I wore, foraging in thrift shops to find the right rhinestone necklace to go with the dress he'd made me buy. When Hallie was 8, Randy left New York to take over a Sleepy Ballet company in a small city in Colorado. He taught, he choreographed, he coaxed secretaries and computer salesmen into pliéing across the stage. Hallie missed him terribly. We all did. But he called, and he sent her party dresses, and he came to see us at Christmas when he could. The year Hallie was 10, we had a new baby. That year, Randy was diagnosed with AIDS. He told me on the phone, without an ounce of self-pity, that he had so few T cells left he'd named them Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It seemed insane for him to travel, risking someone sneezing on him and giving him pneumonia, but he'd decided, and that was it. He was as cheerful and bossy as ever, terribly thin, cheeks hollow, but eyes bright, He took Hallie all over the city again, with baby Julie strapped to his chest in a cloth carrier. As we watched, me wondering how much you were supposed to yield to a dying house guest, even if you loved him like a brother, he stripped the tree. He brought out heaps more curly streamers, tutors, and little party favor plastic champagne bottles. Now we'll turn it into a New Year's tree, he declared. Of course, a New Year's tree. We threw streamers over the tree. We covered it with tutors and tiny champagne bottles. And now for the pièce de résistance, Randy said. And stretching his tall self way up to the top of the tree, he removed our gold papier-mâché angel, and solemnly, carefully, he placed Hallie's tuxedoed Ken and her best Barbie, the one in the sparkly ball gown. Ta-da! He breathed and beamed. It was a wonderful tree, happy and goofy and perfect. Randy lived another year and a half. None of us will ever get over his death, really. But on Christmas, I raise a glass to Randy. To the Christmas he taught us that courage is a man in a pirate hat with silly streamers for hair. So the year that Randy decided we got to do something about this tree, he transformed it into something they had never seen before, never expected, weren't sure that they wanted, but actually really enjoyed. Something completely unexpected. His last gift to them, a New Year's tree with Ken and Barbie on top. Now, I don't know if this family persisted in the tradition of having a New Year's tree, but forever after, they will have that memory of what it was the year that Randy did the tree. Rumi said this, "Be patient. Respond to every call that excites your spirit." Now, this is the time of the year for the spirit to become excited. Every call that excites your spirit. You know, I wasn't sure if we would decorate our tree this year. We put it up, we plugged it in. It looked beautiful. We put some rosemary branches all around the bottom of it to keep our cats from trying to climb it, because they don't like that. And we put a few red, like holly berry things in there. And days went by and we didn't do anything else because Amanda's brother is in the hospital. My brother was in the hospital. It was a very weird time. And we were a little bit dazed, I guess you'd say. Finally, it came about that we got some of the decorations out. And as we started to put them out, you know, it started to feel more like our tree. It started to feel more like our house. Now we can go in and celebrate all the beauty that's there. But you know, if we had had to leave that tree exactly as it was, it would have been fine. It was lit, it was cheery, it was beautiful. If we hadn't had the clarity to do anything else, we could have just decided to love that exactly as it was, and it would have been fine. There will be surprises throughout this season. Some of them will be fabulous and joyful. Some of them may be worrisome or difficult or uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean that we have to give up and let go and sink into darkness and anticipating unpleasant things. We could instead go, oh well, I'll light a candle. I'll shout a little louder. I'll do whatever I need to do to just unfold this with what's right in front of me. And we can do that. We definitely can do that. It reminds me of the little lady in her 90s who decided it was too much work. It was going to be too difficult to go out and buy presents for everybody in a particular year. So she wrote them all checks. And she wrote them all cards. And all the cards said, "Merry Christmas from Aunt Louise, buy your own gift." And it was the week after Christmas when she was sorting out all the piles of stuff, you know, all the catalogs you get and bills that come during the season and all that. She was sorting all that stuff out and she found the checks. She had mailed everyone a Christmas card that said, "Merry Christmas from Aunt Faye," or whatever her name was, "buy your own gift." So that meant she had a little something to do after Christmas to try and sort of make that right. But I'm sure that when people got the story, it made that Christmas gift even funnier because that represented what she had done. I just, last night, sent a photo to my daughter-in-law. I had told her about this, but she'd never seen it. When Luke was 6 years old, my son, and he was living here in California with me, and my mom was alive then and still up in Seattle, I wanted Luke to make an Easter card for my mom. And I had a picture in my head of what I thought that would be. And then he gave it to me. Now, there was a rainbow down in this corner, but then there were these other things. And I didn't really know, there was kind of a face up here, but it was square, and it had one closed eye. And it seemed to be attached to something sort of, might have been a body, but it was all black. I said, honey, what did you draw? He said very confidently to me, it's 5 robots covered with eyeballs. I did not send that Easter card to my mother. It did not fit my picture of an Easter card from her grandson, although I think she might have found it funny. The good side of that, though, is that I still have it, and we framed it. And Virginia had never seen it, so I took a picture of it last night to send to her. Because sometimes, at holiday times, you never know, you might need 5 robots covered with eyeballs. It certainly should bring a flash of joy, and that's what we need. Namaste. So let's take a moment to anchor this openness to joy in our hearts as we recognize right now that there's one presence, no exceptions. All of us are included in the one presence. All of us are expressions of that infinite presence, of eternal love, of eternal inclusion, of being cherished and treasured. This lights within us the recognition that even if we don't know it, even if we can't feel it at the moment, that joy of spirit lives in us. That wisdom and creativity, that endless love and commitment to beauty, to passion, to joy, to peace, and to hope. So our hearts are open now. And I claim an opening in consciousness that allows them to open even more than they have before, making more space for greater good, making more space for inclusivity, for understanding, for willingness, for peace. We breathe this in with gratitude. We let this day be exactly what it needs to be. And with love, we let the word go, and together we say, and so it is. Yes. Now I invite you to stand, and I'm going to lead you through the morning affirmation with me. So please stand for this. This is a short one, don't panic. My passion and joy lead me into greater expression and fulfillment. I let the fire of infinite love blaze in my heart. And so it is. You may be seated. So I invite the ushers to come forward. This is our sacred offering time. If you see this online later, or in this room, if you wish to, I don't know if you can or not, but if you'd like to text a donation, the number is 415-779-7613. 415-779-7613. You can text to that number the dollar amount you want to give, and then just follow the directions on your phone. But since we don't have Wi-Fi, that may not work for you. So if you're here for the first time this morning, don't worry. Your presence here with us is your gift. as it is for all of you that are here. But for those that are bringing tithes and offerings today, we want to bless those. And we want to bless all the gifts, including ourselves, that Golden Gate has been receiving in this past week. So I invite you to put your hands with your gift, if you have it, over your heart, and repeat this after me. This gift I give is God in action. Oh, maybe you know it well enough, do you? Yeah. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Yes. And now we're going to hear Nathan.
Play the game so that everyone's the same. Toe the party line. Know the score so you're sure of what's in store. Or what's for all the signs. Yeah. Remedy, heard about it on TV. It's the latest thing. Surfing it, so you know which one to get. It does everything. Ha. That whole scene's unraveling. Whatever feeds your soul, whatever makes you whole, whatever makes you feel, whatever makes you heal, whatever makes you sure, whatever makes you pure, whatever makes you sing, sing. Do that thing, get out of your head and just do it. Get out of your head and into your body, out of your head and just do it. Get out of your head and into your body. We don't need to conform with every deed. We don't need what's new. What we need is to let ourselves be free. What we need is you. Hey, celebrate that thing you do. Whatever feeds your soul, whatever makes you whole, whatever makes you feel, whatever makes you heal, whatever makes you sure, whatever makes you pure, whatever makes you sing, sing. Do that thing, animate, energize, stimulate, go to it, vitalize, activate, galvanize, just do it. Listen up for a minute, stop your hurry. What you gonna get with all that worry? So much to remember, so much to forget. Gonna kill you if you aren't dead yet. So find a way to unwind, clear your mind. Never be a better place than time, because now is all we have and all there is. So just do it. Do that thing, ooh, that thing that makes you sing. Whatever feeds your soul, whatever makes you whole, whatever makes you feel, whatever makes you heal, whatever makes you sure, whatever makes you pure, whatever makes you sing, sing. Do that thing, just do what you will, but harm none. Just got to remember that golden rule, which is do what you will, but harm none. And let kindness be your fuel, whatever feeds your soul, whatever makes you whole, whatever makes you feel, whatever makes you heal, whatever makes you sure, whatever makes you pure, whatever makes you sing, sing. Do that thing.
Thanks, Nathan. All right. So we do, all of us together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, accept this offering and send it out into the world to seed more joy, more passion. And so it is.
So it is. We have coffee and tea now.
So if you're here for the first time this morning, God bless you. There's a table right back here that is a welcome table, just in between you and all the goodies that are on sale this morning, but I'll tell you about them in a minute. Stop and pick up any of the handouts you like and make sure you get a welcome packet. There's a blue card in there. If you fill that out and give it to Galen, she's going to give you a little book as our thank you gift to you for being here this morning, and it's also an invitation to come back and be with us often in the future. We look forward to getting to know you. And I'd like to acknowledge particularly this morning everybody who was involved in, Leslie didn't do the altar because we didn't have one because we didn't. And there were other things that we didn't have and some that we had that we didn't know we would have. So let's just acknowledge everybody who made it happen. And a very special acknowledgement to PG&E, who apparently got it together in record time there. That's great. All right, today is the holiday art and craft and gift fair, as you can see back there. It's going to be immediately after the service. You work with those vendors to purchase their goodies, and they'll tell you if they can take a check or a credit card or cash or whatever they need, but they're back there and they're waiting for you. I want to especially thank Sophie Fleming for shepherding this every year. Where's Sophie? There she is, back at the back. She's got it all together for us once again. And if you want to donate cash or checks to Homeward Bound, give them to Sophie and she'll turn them in. You've got a box back there? What? Oh, it's at the membership table. Okay, so there's a receptacle you can put it in right on the welcome table, right back there. All right, excellent. So I think, and I'm going to keep telling you this, next week is my last time to tell you this, in fact, but the Sunday service on the 29th of December will not be here. This building is closed. If you come here, you'll discover that. But we will still be doing the Sunday service, and we're doing it over at the Corte Madera Best Western on Madera Boulevard. So it's very close to here. It's just on the north side of the town center mall. And we will be there at 10 o'clock on the last Sunday of this month for our Sunday celebration. Also, we are having a 5th Sunday brunch that day at the Walker household, and Jet would like to know how many people she is preparing for. So you will find a sign-up sheet, and it's actually out in the lobby. That was our little sign-up sheet table. So please be sure that you sign up there if you're intending to come on the 29th to Jet's in Tiburon for the 5th Sunday brunch. And parking is very limited, so we encourage you to carpool up there, to carpool or to get to Tiburon and somebody pick you up and go up there, or somebody ferry people. Whatever we need to do, we'll figure it out. But you do not need to bring food unless you have special dietary requirements. Just let us know that you're coming. That's the main thing. We need to know that. Also, Karen Frost and I are going to be teaching our foundations class. This is the first class in the Science of Mind series. It is our basic class, and it's a prerequisite for everything else. We're going to be teaching it on Zoom beginning the middle of January. It's a 10-week class. There will be one Saturday workshop that is required as a part of the class, and it will also be on Zoom. So that begins on Thursday, January 16th. It'll be on Thursday nights from 6 to 9, and you can now register on the website. So if you look for the events tab, look under there for the classes and registrations for classes, and you'll click on that and it will take you to the class page. You'll be able to register for foundations, and we're looking forward to that. I think we already have 3 students that have signed up, and we'd like to double that number. So we encourage you to consider taking foundations or reviewing it if it's been a while since you took it. Also, I want you to know how much we value the year-end gifts, that some of you have already sent them, and we are so grateful for them. It's wonderful. So we could certainly welcome more, and we're happy to do that. If you need to make a distribution at year-end, let the distribution come from your investment company, because that way you'll get the full deduction. But if it comes to you first, then that's a different thing. So you want to do that for the year-end. If you have distributions you need to do. And if you don't have distributions you need to do, but you're feeling generous, we would still be happy to welcome a special year-end donation above and beyond your regular commitment. Oh, and I do want to remind you too, and we said this in our newsletter this week, if you are giving a year-end donation, make sure that we get it before December 31st, that we receive it before December 31st and can deposit it so that you'll get credit for it for 2024. Otherwise, it goes into 2025. And of course, prayer requests. There's always an option to request prayer of our on-duty practitioners. We've got Anne, we have Selma, we have Dana over there today, beautifully sitting in. It said Karen, I think, on the screen, but it's Anne Sullivan who's over there. And we are grateful for them. Be sure to request a prayer right after the service with them. And let's have the practitioners now surround the room. This closing prayer is for you to take this with you out into the world this week to help you remember that you are already in joy, even when you don't feel it. And you can request an upsurge in your joy when you want to. So let's turn within now and recognize that in that oneness there is joy. In that place of oneness there is peace. There is humor, there is creativity and delight. And we're made out of that. Our very substance is formed out of those qualities and other qualities of the divine. Because that's true, these are ever available to us. So we call them forth for our experience, our expression, our delight this week. We call them forth for our use this week. And we determine now in advance, our commitment is to send those forth, to send those gifts of joy and peace and creativity and humor into the world around us moment by moment, letting go of errors and delighting in surprises. We claim this joy for ourselves with peace and gratitude, and we send it out to all of the world. So we let this prayer go into the creative law of mind and spirit, which takes hold of it and brings it into form and experience. We let this prayer go into the heart of God, where it always has been the truth of us. And we just let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Please stand and join us for the closing and the closing song. Our closing blessing we say together. So we say, I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. And whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. Yes. And now we get to see him and hear the song, and we do have coffee and tea.
Thanks very much, everyone, for being here this morning.
We do have coffee and tea,
I'd like
glory,
to take us
hallelujah.
out with a great song by next week's musical guest, Mr. Gary Lynn Floyd, called One Big Family.
We know this one from Gary. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet.
Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound, here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound, here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound, hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. Solstice is coming. We are welcoming back the light. So have a very happy solstice, and we'll be back with you the day after. Mwah!